Job interviews are nerve-wracking, so don't start out one of the most career-sensitive discussions by rambling on about yourself. Instead, have a clean, concise, and polished elevator pitch to introduce yourself in a job interview. Hey everybody, welcome back to Career Compass Media. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So every interview is going to start out usually with a question of, tell us a little bit about yourself, or tell us, why you're interested in the position, or some rendition of that, basically to break the ice, really kind of get that conversation flowing, let everybody relax a little bit. But really what it also is for you as the applicant is this is the perfect time for you to take a golden opportunity to tell really clear, polished, and concise information about you related to the position and really how you can benefit the organization. So it sets that tone immediately is really what it does, that you're there to show them and highlight all the things that are positive about you in relation to that particular position. And having a polished elevator pitch really can do that in a very clear, concise, and quick way. You don't want your elevator to pitch to be, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and ramble on. Really, you want between 30 seconds and a minute to highlight all of those positive things. And so, I've talked to some people and they're like, how do I prep for this in a way that prevents me from just rambling on and on and on? Because like a lot of people, and I've had it happen to myself as well, is someone asks you a question and you start to answer that question, but then you squirrel, and then all of a sudden you're rambling about something that may or may not be related. Maybe you get too deep or too personal about things, and all of a sudden you realize you've gone too far, and then by that time it's too late to reel it back. And so I'm going to give you a framework to help, one, highlight all of the things that are important about you, but more importantly, prevent you from rambling on and keep your elevator pitch to, again, that 30 to 60 second time frame. And literally it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. So the first thing you want to do before you come in, step one is know your primary value that you can bring to that position and state that. And so for me, an example of this is, I've been in learning and development for most of my career in some way, shape, or form. And so if someone were to ask me, tell us about yourself, my step one would go something like this. I use high-level learning and development techniques to make employees more efficient at their jobs, which ultimately impacts the bottom line. So from my standpoint, given my career background and my interests and really just my love of education and learning and training, I know that's the one thing that I can bring to the organization that's very specific to the job that I'd be applying for. It's not out in left field. It's not talking about my favorite sports team or, how I like hiking in the woods or those types of things. It's very career related, but it's also very much how I identify myself. So step one, find that one thing that you do best that you can bring to the organization that'll make an impact. So for step two, give 2 examples of how you do what you do best. And here's an example, again, going back to how I would answer this as someone who's been in learning and development for most of my career. I enjoy mixing learning methods to get the greatest impact. I like building initial understanding through lectures or online tutorials, and then I like to use hands-on simulations to make sure learning really sinks in. So in this example, the 2 ways that I feel that I can impact learning the most is by giving high-level presentations, just like your standard trainings, right? You're presenting information, it might be the first time, building that understanding really through either lectures or online tutorials. But that's kind of that high level or that first thing. And then the second thing that I feel I do very well is really drilling down through simulations, building simulations, and making sure that people can apply their skill as well. So those are the 2 things that I would highlight related to my learning and development background. So for step one, again, you want to bring what you feel is the most important thing that you can bring to the table for that business in relation to the position, obviously, that you're applying for, and then highlight 2 ways in which you do that. Now for step 3, you want to show how doing what you do impacts at least 3 things at the organization. And here's an example. Leveraging training makes sure that employees understand what they're doing. This reduces frustration, reduces errors, and essentially improves the quality of work. All 3 of these things impact the bottom line. So highlighting step 3 takes it to that next level of the different things that you do and how those things directly impact the business. So again, your elevator pitch could be that simple. It's only a few sentences long. It would take between 30 seconds and a minute at most, really, to present that to somebody. And you can make it as simple as 1, 2, 3. And so I challenge you to take a little bit of time to reflect on your career, or maybe your education, or maybe your experiences that would be most impactful for you to bring to your next interview, and how they relate specifically to the position. Then explain a couple of different ways that you do that. How have you mastered that in at least 2 ways? And then how would those things essentially give you 3 opportunities to impact the bottom line at that business? But by coming in with a framework and practicing that just 2 or 3 times before you come in, you're much less likely to ramble on about yourself or dive into something that's totally irrelevant, like, my favorite team is the Lakers, or, I love NASCAR and all those types of things, which is fine. It's great that you have those personal interests, but in a job interview, take that golden opportunity when they ask that question. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Use that moment to really build intrigue about yourself from a professional level, because essentially you're at a job interview to get the job. That is the primary purpose that you're there. After you get the job, that's a better time for you to start sharing, maybe a little bit more of that personal interest, your hiking, your biking, your baseball games, or those types of things. Take the moment, take a little bit of time, build an elevator pitch so the next time you go into an interview, you're prepared, you're focused, you're clear, you're concise. You won't ramble on by simply making it as easy as 1, 2, 3. Thanks again for joining me here on the channel. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And please do leave some comments in the comment section. If there's some content you would like me to build, I'd be more than happy to give the audience what they like. Take care.